and we continue our journey in this Holy Week with Holy Monday. What we are observing at this moment is the Mount of Olives. We'll do it slightly, so you can understand the narrative and the geographical context of the Gospels, because it mentions that on a significant day like today, Jesus is going to the temple. And the question we must ask is, where was he staying? Was he planning on staying at the Hilton Hotel? Or perhaps at the King David Hotel? Of course not. Let's remember that Jesus, he also had a network of friends who actively supported his ministry. Martha, Lazarus, and Mary. But there was also another intriguing character present in Bethany, who just so happened to be located behind the renowned Mount of Olives. His name was Simon, or as it is written in Hebrew, Shimon. And this is roughly the specific route that Jesus took before he entered the temple in Jerusalem. As I mentioned last time, the Kidron Valley that we are currently observing was much deeper in the time of Yeshua, approximately 10 meters deeper than what we can currently observe or see right now. He must have taken that specific route to enter the building discreetly. Perhaps we could explore the route through the city of David? Let's remember the video we watched yesterday. If you haven't seen it yet, I recommend you watch it. And this is how it looks today. What remains of the city of David? It's very interesting what we are going to read right now. As Jesus curses a fig tree, the intriguing question arises. Why don't we read together in the morning? When he was making his way back to the city, Jesus, feeling quite hungry, noticed a fig tree by the road. He approached it, but found nothing but leaves. Then he spoke firmly to the fig tree. "Never again will you bear any fruit," and immediately it withered away completely. Wow, these words are strong. What we should ask, the reason Jesus cursed the fig tree is not this. When it is not the appropriate season for harvesting fresh figs. Let's take a quick look in a moment at how a fig tree appears. Without fruit, this is a fig tree that is outside, in the spacious backyard of our lovely house. This is the case for a simple reason, that it is currently not the time for figs to be in season. And it is during this season approximately that Yeshua notices the fig tree. At least this particular one has no leaves at all. During summer fruiting season, and even theologians have often wondered about this. Why did Jesus choose to curse the fig tree? Is he attempting to provide an important lesson? To those who were listening, in this case his disciples, but this is how the fig tree uniquely looks in nature, when it is not the appropriate season for it to bear fruit. Interesting, right? And as we saw in the video, entrance today from yesterday's context, of course, we are heading to the historic city of David so that the devoted pilgrims can peacefully ascend to the sacred temple on their journey. If, for example, they came from the east. Today, the city of David is National Park. Here is the entrance to the ancient pool, specifically the renowned Siloam Pool, known for its historical significance. You can enter here or pay upstairs, and here is what still remains of that old, forgotten pool. Let's see in the model how it looked before. And this is the Siloam Pool, as it might have appeared during the time period of Yeshua. After the individual underwent purification, it could potentially go up this staircase. It's well known today. We recognize it as the journey of the pilgrims to enter through one of these large doors to the temple area. This is actually what we are discussing today. And it's that Jesus we read in the Gospels that he enters the temple and cleanses it. Or, more precisely, drives out the sellers from the market. And let's take a closer look at the biblical account. And we read in the Gospels, and upon entering the temple, that he began to expel everyone who bought and sold within that marketplace. As it is written, "My house shall be known as a house of prayer. But you have turned it into a den filled with thieves and wrongdoers." And he taught daily in the temple to eager listeners. But the chief priests, the skilled scribes, and the prominent leaders of the people sought to kill him. Now the question is, where, exactly, were these money changers located in the area? And when it says the temple, does it specifically refer to the temple building itself? Let's take a moment to watch a video showing how it actually looked. Or rather, How the temple looked. Around the historical period of Yeshua's life. We taught this yesterday as well, in the video for Palm Sunday celebrations. Now there are various suggestions being made of the location where it is believed that Jesus performed the cleansing. The number 1 is located in this building. You can clearly see it by using the mouse. I'm illustrating above with distinct red roofs that were historically recognized as the Stoa structure. Of course, there were large main entrance doors. Some doors were specifically designed for entering, while others were meant for exiting. The other area is this structure is what is commonly referred to in modern times as the Robinson Arch. Let's take a look and see how it appears today. Was it inside? That's the big question. Inside the temple building or within the surrounding temple area? Let's take a closer look at this particular model to understand how the temple appeared during the time of Jesus' life. This is the other part of the project where we can see the Stoa. We're looking from north to south, and as I noted yesterday, it might have entered through one of these 2 gates here coming from the south. And this is the historic building that was also known as the Stoa, which was actually a public building that served various community purposes there. Obviously, if you brought along coins from another specific region of the vast empire, you couldn't use them. For that matter, you had to exchange them, just like when you first arrive in Israel upon your arrival. You bring your dollars or your shekels, or you can bring your euros or your Filipino pesos with you. But I'm not sure if they accept Filipinos pesos as currency here. But you understand what I mean. What was it? So I can use it in Israel? We need to switch to the local currency to be used at the temple. As I said yesterday, this refers to the temple's area. It won't be impossible for them to be here, but in the temple area. And what's interesting, for example, today, which, of course, we do not have access to the temple. However, there is the iconic Dome of the Rock. The Dome of the Rock is prominently located in the very center. To the south, you will find the historic Al-Aqsa Mosque. They are not the same. The Dome of the Rock is not a mosque. If you would like me to create and share a video about the platform, please don't hesitate to share your thoughts in the comments section below. And Muslims today, when someone go to visit Al-Aqsa, does not automatically imply or indicate that they will both enter the same mosque together. However, it could potentially be located anywhere on the platform. It was also during the significant historical period of Yeshua's life and teachings. What is known about the temple? Because only the Levites could enter the temple. So it could have been in this area, as we are seeing here, where these columns are. Represented in this model that Jesus overturned the tables and became enraged. What has always caught my attention is the following, that the priests, or specifically the high priest, who was currently serving in the temple during that specific time period, was a usurper. What do I mean? To explore that topic further, we should refer to the book of Leviticus, which I am currently also studying. About the book of Leviticus, I highly recommend that you check out my curated playlist, because that is the place where the family that has been chosen to serve is carefully selected and designated. In the tabernacle, later within the walls of the temple, and during the significant reign of King David. Nearly 1,000 years prior to this specific time period, when we are talking about Jesus, in the 1st century, by the time of King David's reign, there were so many Levites that David made the choice to set apart. One family that serves among the priests in the community to serve in the temple. By the time of Yeshua, it wasn't the same family, but rather a century earlier, around the 2nd century before Christ, approximately. They were already in the process of buying that particular position, just like how politicians are doing that in today's world, who secretly pass money under the table to obtain. Certain positions were also being filled. The same situation was occurring in the temple. In other words, there was corruption within the temple, but still, Jesus, the disciples, Paul himself consistently continued to attend the temple regularly. And many times, committed believers stop attending church services because the leadership, or the pastor, or the priest, or the rabbi is not acting in accordance with the expected standards of their role. We must always remember that when we go to sincerely worship God, we do it for the Lord. Both the high priest and the priests serving in the temple. The religious leaders today will be held accountable to God for their actions, friend. I strongly encourage you not to stop attending your beloved congregation, as it offers valuable support and community. As the epistle clearly stated, let us not cease gathering together regularly. And I wanted to take a moment to show you in this video exactly what this street looks like. It's original from the 1st century. Under the arch we stand, that we observed in the specific model referred to as the Robinson Arch. And what we see here on the left side were various shops and local businesses. Since then, some have proposed this idea, that perhaps one of these options could have been one of these businesses. The archaeological park is now designated as such, or the Davidson Center. If you want a full video on this topic, let me know. Please feel free to let me know your thoughts in the comments. I want to provide an example from yesterday's discussion of the mikvahs, which were ritual pools. Look how it is carved into the rock itself. You would go down through one and up through two, and the person would immerse. This is where the important concept of baptism originates from. If you're interested in exploring where baptism in Christianity originates from, let me know in the comments. But this is one example of many that were found in that temple area. And this is what the beautiful temple courtyard looks like today. And here is precisely where that enormous building once stood proudly, towering over the city. It was enormous. It spanned nearly 300 meters in total length, and as I previously mentioned, the Al-Aqsa Mosque. Let me know if you want a video on this platform. Please feel free to let me know your thoughts in the comments section. It's impressive to see approximately the model that is currently displayed in the Israel Museum for public viewing, and compare it to what today's Jerusalem really is. Many visitors who arrive in Jerusalem for the very first time are greatly surprised because, based on their unique worldview, they envision the city in a particular way, the Sea of Galilee another way, the Jordan River another way. That's why we make these videos, to give you a vivid idea of how these beautiful places look today, but especially to carefully separate and analyze all the various urban legends that exist, from the places and even from various passages found in the Bible that many individuals often take for granted. I understand that sometimes actions or words are done or said out of pure ignorance, but we focus on this channel to distinguish if something is historical or according to long-standing tradition, and to clearly differentiate it from the events and narratives found in biblical history. I really want to thank all of you in North America and Europe who are actively watching us and eagerly seeking your support for our channel. And let's take a moment to remember this special Holy Week and what our Lord and King has taught us and what Yeshua of Nazareth did for humanity. Let's continue with God's favor. The video tomorrow on Tuesday about the actions and teachings of Jesus on Tuesday in the Gospel and what the specific place where he taught looks like and its surrounding environment. I invite you to take a look at our curated playlist. And if you don't see something you're looking for, please feel free to suggest it in my comments section so I can carefully take note and then create those engaging videos for you. And if you haven't yet had the chance to see Palm Sunday, I highly recommend that you watch it soon. And please don't forget to show your support by liking this post. Thank you. You are completely free to share this video with others, on your social media, with your friends and family. Again, my name is Abel. A super guide from the land of the Messiah awaits you. And I sincerely hope to see you again in my next video, wishing you peace and